reason for putting the knockback within the player script is rather than just having it in the hurt player on contact thing, you'd have to have a specific. You'd have to choose a knockback value every single time that you created another object that you wanted to hurt the player. So it's much easier to just put it on the player. Then every time he gets hit, no matter what, he always has a little default little amount that he's knocked back by. So let's actually just try reducing it slightly and see how it feels. Hit play again. And we go over here. Boop. There we go. That actually feels pretty good. Oh no. But there we go. That's the basis of adding a little knockback. But those enemies are annoying us too much now. They're knocking us back too much. We don't want them doing that the whole time. We want to be able to take our vengeance on them. So what we're going to do is give ourselves the ability to jump on their heads and squash them. So at the moment, on our enemies, we'll just go to this guy here. If we look, we created a little trigger zone around him. But that's going to cause some issues. If we want to jump on his head, then we're just going to end up hurting ourselves every time. So what we're going to do on him is go to his box collider and we'll get the one that is a trigger. And what we're going to do is grab the size and just shrink it down like that. Because that's still going to hurt the player when he walks into him as much as if he was as if this thing was up or down, as much as if it was bigger. Sorry, it's still going to hurt the player. It's still going to be able to detect the player just as well. But now, when if the player lands on top of him, he won't necessarily be able to hurt the player every single time, which is exactly what we want. And what we're going to do on our player object, if we go to him here, what we're going to do with him is we're going to add another object onto him that is going to be just below his feet, and that's going to hurt the enemies whenever we land on him. So we're going to go game object, create empty child. We'll call this head stomper. We want to add a box collider 2D to him. Box collider 2D. And we don't want it to be anywhere near that big. We want to squash the size down just like that. And what we're going to do is drag that down so it's just below his feet there. So then when he lands on an enemy with this box, hopefully when we create a script, this little box will hurt the enemy. So obviously at the moment now, if we go hit play and walk over here, oh well, look at that, sir. I didn't make it a trigger, so you have to make sure and remember to make it a trigger. But if we jump on top at the moment, oh god, all it's doing is the enemy is hurting us. That's no good to us at all. So we unplay this and make sure trigger is selected. So now we need to write a little script to attach to this object that will hurt the enemies whenever we land on top of them. And again, much like all the scripts we've been making, it's all very straightforward and very simple. So we're just going to create C# script, and we'll call this one, instead of hurt player on contact, we'll call it hurt enemy. Oh, if we could spell enemy on contact. Now, perfect. So we'll just open this up here, and this is going to only have a few little simple a few little simple bits and pieces to it that'll hopefully just make it all nice and easy for us. So we'll have to have an amount of damage to give. So we'll have a public int damage to give. And the other thing we'll need is actually no, that's all we need for the moment. So we'll just leave the start thing alone, and we'll leave our update alone, and we're going to go void on trigger enter 2D collider 2D other, and put our squiggly little brackets in. So now all this is going to be is if other.tag is equal to enemy, then other.get component enemy health manager. So it'll find the enemy health manager that's attached to our enemy objects, and we'll just, using that script, we'll just go give damage, and we'll put in the damage to give, save that, pop back in here, and we'll make sure on our head stomper script that we add that script that we just created. So once I finish compiling, there we go. So that was our hurt enemy on contact. And we'll say 3 because we want to. These enemies have 3 health, so we just want to be able to stomp on them and get rid of them straight away. So if we hit play now, we should be able to. Boom, there we go. Enemy is destroyed. Boom. This guy. Boom. Perfect. So that's what we want. But if we just replay again, we're not really getting any kind of good feedback when we do that. We're kind of, we're just kind of smashing down through them. It'd be a bit nicer if we could kind of bounce on their heads a little bit. Whoop, there we go. I nearly lost track of that guy altogether. There we go. Stomping on him. Stomping on the spikes. Yeah, so we want to be able to have a little bit of a effect to happen when we bounce on our enemies, not when we hit our enemies, to make it look like we're bouncing on them, basically. So what we're going to do here is simply, we have this box that's always going to be attached to the player, so we can have a set amount that we're able to bounce the player by. So that's what we want to do. So we'll go public float bounce on enemy. And to be able to move the player, we need to be accessing our rigid body. So we'll go private rigid body 2D my rigid body 2D. Now the thing is, if we go back in here, so this script is attached to our head stomper, and we don't want to get the rigid body on the head stomper because we don't have a rigid body on that. That's not doing anything. We have a rigid body on the player, which isn't the same object that the script is attached to. So if we go back in here, what we want to do is find the rigid body on the parent object. So we'll go here, my rigid body 2D is equal to, rather than just going get components rigid body 2D, what we'll do here is we'll go transform dot parent. So what that'll do, it'll find the parent object, and then we're going to go get components. So we know where our parent object is. So it's going to go, okay, parent object on you, we want to get that component and find the rigid body 2D. Close these brackets and add some normal brackets. So now we have the rigid body of the player rather than of our little stomp on head object. So now that we have that rigid body, it's very easy for us to just go my rigid body 2D dot velocity is equal to new vector 2, and we're not going to change the x value at all because we want the player to be able to still move along if they're bouncing on an enemy or anything. So my rigid body 2D dot velocity dot x, we don't want to change that, but what we do want to change is our y velocity to make it bounce in the air. So here we're just going to say bounce on enemy, and we'll close that and we'll hit that button there. So now we'll save, we'll pop back into the game, and once this compiles here down in the corner, we will hit play. And once it's all run, here we go. Oh, I forgot to jump there for a second. But we'll, oh, why is he kind of slowly falling there? Weird. He's kind of getting stuck in the air. I don't know why it's doing that now. Also, we didn't set a value for our bounce on enemy, so that wouldn't actually do anything. If we hit play here, huh. Very strange. I don't know what's going on here. That shouldn't be happening at all. Oh, because I didn't put it within this. Ah, that's our problem. So we didn't make any squiggly brackets after our if statement. So we need to put them in there, and we'll just pop this over for the sake of tidiness. Yes, that was a strange thing to do. So I was always trying to give you the bounce value onto the rigid body of the player, which isn't really what we want to happen. So now when we press play, this time when we bounce on top of our enemy, Oh, it wasn't a very big bounce there, so let's actually make it like 20. Let's try that. Come here, enemy, till I jump on your head. So now, whoa, that's way too much. Let's bring it back down to 10. Go over here and bang. That's just enough of a bounce, I think. But again, you can fiddle with the bounce amount and see how it feels yourself. There was one little thing that I noticed here when I killed myself a little while ago. Look, we were getting our knockback amounts. Now, it does it almost looks like he's jumping out of the respawn point, which maybe you might want to keep that in. I don't know. Personally, I'm not too enamored by it, but we don't want him to be getting knocked back when he comes out of the portal. So, once he dies, which is handled in our level manager script, so we'll open our level manager back in here, which I apparently already have open. So in here, we're going to, on our player, we're just going to say that the knockback amount, or not the knockback count is equal to 0. So then it knows, okay, we're not adding any more knockbacks to him. So very simple, we're just going to go player.knockback count is equal to 0. Save that, go back into the game. And now when we hit play here, we should be all sorted and all running nicely and smoothly. And we're able to jump on our enemies and able to get killed without any errors occurring. So boom, kill that guy. There we go. So once we're killed, come back alive. And there's nothing trying to push us around all over the place. So there you go. That's our basics of jumping on our enemies and killing them and adding a little knockback effect to the player. Next time out, we're going to take a look at adding a weapon to our player, a handheld weapon. For example, a little sword to stab at people or something like that. And just another way for us to take care and take out our enemy friends. So yes, thanks for watching. I will be back soon with more tutorial goodness. And everybody, stay having fun. Thanks for watching this episode, and if you'd like to see just how some of the concepts we've covered can be brought together into a fully fledged game, then head to portalnauts.com and check out the demo for my game that I've been working on for the last while. It uses a lot of the concepts we've covered so far in the series, as well as other things that we're going to cover in the future. So if you want to get a feel for where we're going and what kind of things you can make with with the basics of Unity, head over there, try out the game for yourself, and let me know what you think of it, of course. And the best place to let me know is to head to Twitter @GamesPlusJames. Say hi, I'm always there, ready to say hello and do stupid things. But also, if you'd like to see some of the game being worked on and developed in real time, head to twitch.tv/GamesPlusJames, where I regularly stream development of the game, and you can get to see behind the scenes of how things all work. So, head there, say hello, and I'll see you all in the near future.